and welcome to me reading the lowest rated books on my TBR. This is a popular concept. I've wanted to do this for a while, but I only really like doing videos like this when I have the time to sit down and read things, which I did a video similar to this concept last January when I was out sick from work with COVID. I did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 predictions, which I'll link that video down below. It was really fun and I've wanted to do another similar type video, but I'm on vacation this week, so what better time to do this again? So I decided to go with the lowest rated books on my TBR, with the caveat that I haven't actually uploaded a lot of my own books to Goodreads recently, so I don't actually know what they're rated. Like the last 2 years I haven't. I stopped a while ago. I just don't like doing it anymore, so this doesn't include any of the books I bought within the last 2 years. But own TBR, I have 3 books that Goodreads says have an average rating of less than 3. That's low. That's concerningly low. If you look at Goodreads, most books there are minimum 3.5. 3.5 is where things start to get a little concerning. And really 4 and up is kind of where the happy books sit. But less than 3 is absurdly low. So we're gonna read those this week. I didn't buy any of these for this video. I didn't go out of my way to hate read these. I bought all these books because I wanted to read them, because they looked interesting to me. And now I'm concerned. But we're gonna read them, see what they're like. We'll start with the lowest rated first. So, coming in at 2.50 average rating with a total of 7,234 ratings on Goodreads, we have Sweet Valley Confidential 10 Years Later by Francine Pascal. This doesn't actually surprise me. This is a Sweet Valley book, but it was published in 2011, I think. So decently long time after all the Sweet Valley books had come out, because I don't think any of them were still coming out at that point. It's about them as adults. They're 30 at this point, I think. Or close to 30 anyway. Apparently Jessica has done something to betray Elizabeth, and I assume she stole Elizabeth's boyfriend or something, just based on what I know about reading the series for most of my childhood. I just feel like these books were not particularly well written. They weren't great stories. What they have going for them is the nostalgia, the connection to the stories, and you love them because you loved them when you were younger. And I feel just turning this into an adult book with adult dramas, you lose the nostalgia, you lose a lot of the forgivable negatives. They weren't great, but they were archetypes, they were fun to get. I don't know, I feel this is not gonna be fun. That's why people aren't enjoying it. But I'm curious. I don't expect to enjoy this book. I didn't buy it because I think I'm gonna love it. I bought it because I was curious what an adult Sweet Valley book would look like. So we'll see. Low expectations for this one. The second book we have has an average rating of 2.70 with a total of 36,794 ratings. This one also doesn't actually surprise me because I had seen negative reviews for this book. The Almost Moon by Alice Sebold. I actually enjoy The Lovely Bones. It has its flaws. It has weird things in it. But I still like that book. I like it for what it is. I thought her memoir was okay. There are more flaws with the memoir now that it's come out that the man who was convicted for her rape was not actually the rapist. He was exonerated. So I feel if that book stays in print, it needs a big update. But I didn't hate it. I don't know why people hate this book, but people, like, I've seen every review I've seen for this book, people have hated it. But, like, I want to give it a fair shake because I really like The Lovely Bones, and The Lovely Bones has some weird bad things going for it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can look at that book and acknowledge the weird bad things, but I still like it. So maybe there will be weird bad things in this that I can acknowledge but still enjoy. We'll see. We'll see, maybe. This one, not as low expectations. I feel like I might like it. We'll see, though. And then the third book did surprise me. I was not expecting to see this book rated so low. I don't know anything about it except that I picked it up from a thrift store because it looked really, really interesting. So coming in at an average rating of 2.90 with 1,504 ratings. So none of these are lowly rated, but this is like the least read book of the three. The Wilderness of Ruin, A Tale of Madness, Fire, and the Hunt for America's Youngest Serial Killer by Roseanne Montillo. I don't know anything about this. It's nonfiction. It's like true crime, but it's, you know, set in the 1870s about like a teenager who was killing younger children. And like, it's nonfiction. I don't know anything about the teenager. I kind of like skimmed the Wikipedia page when I bought this, and it seemed interesting, but like, I don't know why it has a 2.9 rating. That's like that's like something is wrong. You know, like all of these are like, I don't know, under 3-star average rating on Goodreads. It's just like obscenely low. So this is what I'll be reading the next few days, and I will be vlogging it, so check back in. I'm real concerned about this just because like I've heard about the other two. The other two were not shocking. This one I'm just like, I don't know what's wrong with it. And I haven't read reviews for any of these books. The only one I've heard any thoughts on was The Almost Moon, and that was like accidentally over the years. I've just happened to hear things, but like I never heard of this before. Why is this so lowly rated? I want to really love this. It seems fascinating. So we will find it out, and I will check back in once I have made progress on one of these. So I'm only about 30 pages into this, and it took me about 15 to understand why people hate this book so much. Quick recap in case you don't know what the Sweet Valley series is. It was a long-running soap opera-y type series for like kids and teens. Basically from the early 80s to the early 2000s. There were different like versions, different like series within that. I think Sweet Valley High was the main one. There was also like a Sweet Valley Kids, there was a Sweet Valley Senior Year, there were like spin-offs, like it was a long-running saga by Francine Pascal, but I think like most of it was ghostwritten. Anyway, this is a continuation in 2011 that's set like 10 years after they graduate high school. So I was mostly right when I said that I expected Jessica to steal Elizabeth's boyfriend. They're twins. That's what the series is about. It's a soap opera about these two twins from California. Because that was very much Jessica's personality in the main series, which I read decent bits and pieces of, but never the whole thing. I was close. She didn't quite steal Elizabeth's boyfriend. She stole Elizabeth's husband, and it didn't happen 10 years ago. It happened 8 months before this book starts. And Jessica's already upset that Elizabeth won't talk to her after literally having sex with her husband. And now she's in a relationship with Elizabeth's husband. Like, they're living together. And Elizabeth moved away to New York, and like they're both still trying to get into contact with her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, leave this poor woman alone. Like, That's like actively unforgivable. So yeah, that's why everyone hates this book. In the series, Jessica was always like petty, immature, shallow, sometimes bordering on evil, depending on the book, you know, and then like anything truly bad that she did would kind of be like forgotten real quick. But like, did not expect her at like 27 to steal her sister's husband. Like, that was a lot. So yeah, that's where this book is going. I'm certain by the end Elizabeth and Jessica will have made up, but I do not exactly know how that's going to be believable. So I've read more of this. I am much further in now, and I will admit I was wrong before. I really thought that Todd's the boyfriend's name. I thought that Todd and Elizabeth were married, and it turns out they weren't, because he was talking about his and Elizabeth's wedding, so I just kind of assumed that the wedding had happened, and it kind of turned out that like he was talking about the wedding they had planned that they never got to. So technically Jessica did steal Elizabeth's boyfriend or fiance, I guess. Which like doesn't make it better, because when I thought Jessica was gonna steal her boyfriend, I thought that happened when they were teenagers. Like that's what I was expecting going in. And it's a little bit different to steal your sister's boyfriend when you're like 17 than it is to steal your sister's boyfriend when you're 27 and they've been together for 10 years. Like that's a little bit sociopathic. So yeah, that's and also Jessica and Todd are getting married now. They're planning a wedding that's happening in a couple weeks, which makes it like less than a year after he dumped Elizabeth, or well, I don't know what exactly happened to like precipitate the breakup, but like essentially he and Jessica ran off together. Well, I guess like they technically stayed in Sweet Valley and Elizabeth was the one who got run off to New York, but like they want Elizabeth to come to their wedding. Like they are trying to invite her and like make her come, and I'm like, what? Like why? Like if you have to do that, like go quietly elope somewhere. Don't have a big wedding and try to force your sister to come like 9 months after you dumped her. Like they had a 10-year long relationship. Like, oh, like this is straight unforgivable. Like I'm having such a hard time. It's like Jessica always did awful things. Like if you read the series, you got used to her doing awful things, but like this is really like next level. So yeah, and now Elizabeth is like plotting her revenge, and I assume it ends with everyone being happy, I think, but I don't really know how we're gonna get there at this point, because I'm like halfway through and everyone hates each other and it's like an awful situation. So yeah, I'm not loving this, but also I didn't expect to. Like when I bought this, I kind of thought it was gonna be bad. I was just curious what like a Sweet Valley book would look like as adults. And also there's a lot of time spent in this like recapping things that have happened in the past, and I don't know how much of that is because it's an adult book and they're like recapping the years since the book ended, or if I'm lost because I never really read the books very much and I don't know these characters very well. Like I know them enough that I like recognize them, but I don't know them in like I remember their relationships and like who they were as people, you know? So I don't know, I'm having trouble with that because it is a lot of like, oh, this is Lila Fowler. She was Jessica's best friend from high school. She was a rich girl and she was always like snobby and preppy and whatever, and she married this guy and they're having these relationship problems and blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know how much I'm supposed to know this already, or if this is like new information that she's trying to like be a little Easter egg for like, you know, it's been 10 years, let's catch up with everyone. So, and there's a lot of memories in this, like lots of flashbacks to like things that have happened, that like some of it when they're teenagers and some when they're like in college. And again, I don't know how much of that is like a direct rip from the books or if it's like new made up stuff, but yeah, I'm not really enjoying this one. I finished Sweet Valley Confidential, 2 stars. Not a good book. But also, to be honest, this was not really much different than what I expected from it. Like, I didn't expect Jessica to steal Elizabeth's fiance when they're 27. That seems like a bit much, but like, it was kind of trash, unfortunately. Like, it didn't have the fun vibe that like the original series had. Like, I enjoyed them because they were fun. Like, people did bad things, people did dumb things. It was not greatly written, but like, it was fun, and this wasn't fun at all. So I don't know. I wouldn't recommend this unless you're like a hardcore Sweet Valley fan. Yeah. And even then, you probably won't like it, but just for the curiosity's sake, it's like a real quick read, so it's not like it's difficult. So yeah, done with this, which means it's time for my second book. I'm reading these in order, which I've just convinced myself to do. I'm not looking forward to this one, The Almost Moon by Alice Sebold. I was like kind of neutral on this until I like started reading the back cover. Because I do like Alice Sebold's writing style. I've read 2 of her books and both of them were at least fine. I started reading the back, the description of this book, and I've read it like 4 times and I cannot tell you a single thing about this book. Like, I've never seen so many words that mean nothing. Like, listen to this sentence. Unfolding over the course of a single day, this searing, fast-paced novel explores the complex ties within family, the wages of devotion, and the line between love and hate. Like, okay, first of all, what does the wages of devotion mean? Like, that means nothing. And then it's unfolding over the course of a single day, and yet somehow it is searing and fast-paced. And I'm like, you can't have a novel that takes place in one day and also be fast-paced. Like, those are 2 contradictory things, and if they're not, then that's really concerning for this writing style. But I've read the whole thing and I don't have an idea about what the plot is, so I am concerned. But I'm gonna get into this, and hopefully it's good, because I would like to have something surprise me in this vlog. So I've been reading this for the past like 2 hours in between doing like life things. I don't hate this. I am not quite halfway, but getting there. I kind of like this. Like, I know everyone else seems to hate it. I've never heard anyone say anything positive about this book, but like, I do kind of like it. Like, it's unpleasant. I'm not gonna like lie. Like, it's a very unpleasant book with unpleasant characters, but it's just like interesting. And to me, interesting makes a lot of things okay. Like, I'm fascinated by these people. I want to know what happens. I like it. I'm invested. It's compelling to read. Like, I have read like half of it since I started it this afternoon, and it's like 3 now. I think I started a bit after 1, and I've also like done other life things, so I want to read it. Like, I find it a very compelling read. Essentially, now that I'm into it and can say, the plot is basically that this middle-aged woman, her elderly mother has dementia, and she's been taking care of her for a while, and she murders her. So, it's not like a thriller, it's a contemporary realistic fiction. Like, it's a drama. It's about her life. It's about her relationship with her mother all those years, like the abuse she experienced. Like, her mother was mentally ill and she had a very like strange upbringing. It's really like, it is hard to follow at points because it flips back between like the day that she killed her mother, which is like the present day that this book is taking place in, and then all the various memories that are happening out of order. I do understand why people wouldn't like it, but I do just find it really interesting. Like, I don't adore it. It's not like a favorite for me or anything, but like, I am finding it a rather enjoyable reading experience. So I'm going to keep going, and I will update with any other thoughts soon. Spleen has shown up for the video. Spleen wort. Ma'am, come back. She's not coming back. I'm sitting over here because I wanted actual light for once, and I don't feel like, hello, turning on any lights in my apartment. So we're just going to sit here and appreciate the spleen for a moment. Majestic spleen. I finished The Almost Moon. Fantastic book. I give this 4 stars. I do understand why nobody likes it. It's a very unpleasant book. Like, intentionally so. Like, it's graphic. It's makes you uncomfortable. Its goal is to make the reader uncomfortable. And the main character is very unlikable, and it's just like, its intention is discomfort. And I can see why a lot of people wouldn't enjoy that out of a book that doesn't really have a whole lot else going for it. Like, if you enjoy that discomfort, if you enjoy this unlikable characters, if you enjoy this kind of vibe, which I thoroughly did, then, like, I would recommend this, but I get why a lot of people won't. I'm surprised that the rating on this is so low, though, because I thought this was good. Like, I don't know, like, it's not a favorite for me, but it was thoroughly enjoyable, so, you know. People just don't have taste, apparently. But yeah, I'm really glad I finally got to this, because it was worthwhile. And it's funny, because The Lovely Bones is so highly reviewed, but I feel like it has a lot of similar vibes, and, like, the discomfort and of, like, the writing style and the way it's, like, it's got, like, weird vibes going for it. And I don't know, I feel like The Lovely Bones has that too. So I don't understand why people would read that and then not expect to just see more of that in this book. Like, why did they like it in The Lovely Bones but not here? But I liked it, so hooray. Which means it is time to continue on with The Wilderness of Ruin by Roseanne Montillo. Concerned about this one, but hopefully I will have a similar experience that I had with The Almost Moon and enjoy it a lot. We shall see. So I've read the first, like, 50 pages of this. Made progress. I don't hate it, although I think I might be done for today for the most part. I'm just having a lot of trouble focusing, and I'm not sure how much of that is me and how much of that is the book, because it's kind of weirdly written. Like, she goes off on, like, weird random tangents a lot that, like, I really don't understand. Like, she'll be in the middle of talking about something that's, like, directly related to the main dude. This is nonfiction. It's true crime about a young boy in the late 1800s who killed other children. So she'll be talking about him, something about his childhood, and, like, interrupt the story to go on, like, a long tangent about something that's, like, completely unrelated, and then just 2 pages later come back to the original story like she never left it. And it's weird. Like, she was talking about, like, his mother bought 2 canaries and something bad happened to the canaries, and then she just stopped for literally a page and a half to talk about the prison. And then once she was finished with that, she just went right back to the canary story, and it was weird. Like, she just now, when I stopped reading, she was talking about, like, his relationship with other boys and how he would go off and read what was considered a dime novel at the time that's, like, was considered kind of, like, trashy literature. And she just spent 2 straight pages talking about what Nathaniel Hawthorne thought of these books. And I was like, this is interesting information, but has literally nothing to do with the subject. So, apart from that, I'm enjoying it. Like, it's still interesting. I don't, like, hate that. It's just weird, and it makes it really hard to concentrate on the book. So, I might be putting it down for today and just, like, having a relaxing time otherwise, but it's pretty short. Like, it's only, like, 274 pages of actual book, and I'm, like, just over 50 in right now, so I should get through this tomorrow. It's not bad. Like, I'm probably gonna wind up giving this 3 stars because it is interesting. Like, there's nothing really, like, bad about it. It's just, like, the weird tangents are kind of a lot. I'm curious what other people said in their reviews, because I don't know why this has such a low rating. As I get further in, I'm really understanding the problem here. Like, she goes off on these wild, lengthy tangents. Like, they're getting worse the further I get in, and it's so weird, like, and so unnecessary. Like, did no one tell her to edit out the random chapter on Herman Melville and his life? Like, the only connection Herman Melville has to this story is that the kid who's doing the murdering probably read a Herman Melville book. Like, not even for sure, just like probably. Like, why is there an entire chapter in this book dedicated to Herman Melville? At one point, I literally counted, and she went 25 straight pages without referencing the kid who is the murderer, this book is about, or any of his crimes. Like, literally nothing about him. There was a full chapter on Herman Melville, followed by a full chapter on the Boston Fire of 1872, which the Boston Fire was tangentially related, but it's just like, why is there like nothing about him in either of those chapters? It's so weird. And like, I want to like this book because like it's fine. It's just that like I skimmed the chapter on Melville because I didn't care. Like, it has nothing to do with anything here. I don't understand why someone didn't tell her to like cut out that chapter and cut out all these random things that don't matter. Like, I don't know. It's not bad, like, beyond that. So, like, if you want to read this, I'd say just, like, skip anything that's very obviously not related to the subject. But, like, why? Like, why? I'm back in front of my shelves with a tripod to conclude this video in a somewhat nice-looking manner, so I'm not just sitting on my dim sofa using natural light, of which there's not enough. I finished Wilderness of Ruin. I'm wearing the same shirt because it's only been a couple hours. If I'm gonna be honest, I did skim parts of this book. Like, I gave this 2 stars. And I did check some of the reviews, and most of their thoughts were similar to mine. And it's weird because it's like, this wasn't a terrible book. I wanted to like this book quite a bit, but it was just like so many like off-topic tangential rants, and then like, I don't know, like, I never felt like I got enough of Jesse Pomeroy, who was the teenager who committed the murders and the torturings and went to prison. Like, I felt like it covered his whole life, but I felt like I don't really know anything about his life, you know? Like, I've read this book that was like about him, and it's over now, and I feel like I don't feel like I got very much of it. And I don't know how much of that was like a lack of information that exists in the world, or if it was like, I don't know. It was like weirdly disjointed, even like specifically just the parts about him. It felt like there was so much that was skipped over or skimmed over, or just like we jumped around to different things and then jumped back, which made me feel like I was never getting like the whole story that existed. And then there was just so much else. There was an additional 2 chapters on Herman Melville after my last update. So that was 3 chapters in this book dedicated to Herman Melville. Why? Like, it wasn't like uninteresting information. Like, it was just like about his life and whatever. But like, what did he have to do with Jesse Pomeroy or the murders or anything in this book? Like, I'm at a loss here. So like, I'm kind of disappointed because it wasn't terrible. Like, if it was a terrible book, I would feel better and just be like, yeah, this was bad. But like, it could have been good. Like, so easily it could have been good, and it just wasn't. I really didn't enjoy this, which is unfortunate, but now I understand the ratings. I was looking at the reviews, and most people were just saying exactly what I said, that this was just kind of unpleasant to get through. Like, I'm still glad I read it because the information about Jesse Pomeroy that was there like was really interesting, and I feel like I gained something from having read it, but it just wasn't fantastic. So that's that. Overall, I read 3 books for this. I finished all 3 of these less than a week, so I'm feeling quite good about that. 2 of them were bad, and I really enjoyed The Almost Moon, so I feel like that's a pretty good That's pretty good odds. Like, considering how badly all three of these were rated, the fact that I enjoyed one, I feel like makes this a success. So that's it for the video. Comment down below if you have thoughts on these books, if you have read the lowest rated books on your TBR or anything. I don't know. Talk to me down below because I enjoy that. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all again soon.